It's your boy with the ever-changing background. What's up, loungers? How are we all doing? Me? My brain is on the fritz. So that's a dickhead thing to do. Oh my god, they're still honking. And they're still honking. That's a dickhead thing. And they're still honking. They're trying to wake up everyone on my road. Wow, that's a lovely thing to do at 11 o'clock at night. Dickhead. What was I saying? So my brain has been on the absolute fritz this last week or so. Over a week ago, I recorded a whole bunch of really good videos. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't sleeping much and a bit manic at the time. But anyway, I recorded a load of videos, but I haven't been able to edit any of them yet because I then went and spilt a pint on my laptop. But this is now something like the 6th pint to be spilt on my laptop. Only water this time. In the past it's been, you know, a whole pint of beer before. But yeah, at least 6 pints spilt on this laptop now, and it's still going strong somehow. 2011 MacBook, baby. Anyway, brain's been on the fritz, recorded all these videos, but then other stuff has been going on that I've wanted to talk about first before uploading those videos. So this is going to be that, I guess. And my tongue is going numb from this insane American drink I got at the store today. Americans, what is wrong with you drinking this stuff? 210 calories, 101% of my daily allowance of sugar, 50 grams of sugar. I've never seen a warning like this on a drink before. Not a significant source of trans fat, saturated fat, cholesterol and fibre, which means it's a source of those things. Is this a source of trans fat? But I only drink cis fat. Have you ever had a drink before, guys, that has modified food starch in it? Right now I'm talking to my fellow Europeans and Brits. What is this devil juice? It tastes like liquid heaven. It quenches zero thirst. In fact, just makes you thirstier when you drink it. And it's definitely made me quite hyper. For some reason they brag about the fact real lemon bits, you know, there's like food pulp in there, but it's only 6% juice. This may be why you have problems in your country. Tastes like crack. Literally tastes, imagine taking a toxic waste, melting that down, and like just adding a tiny bit of water to it or something, melting a toxic waste and adding some lemonade to it, and then letting it go still. I'm in love. Anyway, whilst this video is going to be on quite a serious topic, I do want to try and keep this lighthearted. I don't want to offend anyone, and I don't want anyone to be offended by what I'm saying in this video. These are all just my personal opinions that have been based on my experiences, I will explain in the video. And let's talk. Before we go any further, massive thank you to Mel for sending me some money. Finally, somebody sent me some money, guys. And oh Jesus Christ! And my chair just broke. I've already used the money to buy things. Wow, that could have been useful this very second. Oh god, it's so squeaky. Right, we're in a recliner now apparently. What was I saying? Thank you so much. Like, almost, yeah, it's crazy. I feel like a real YouTuber now, and thank you. And so, yeah, I guess I should remember to remind people I do in fact have a PayPal. Discord links down below as well. Discord's for free. If you send me some money and you're in the Discord, I will upgrade you from lounging to being an official lounger. Insta, Twitter, TikTok, all that other stuff. Let's go. So this is Pride Month, I suppose. Which is pretty cool. I myself only recently came out, like within the last few years, as being bisexual, but that's because I only accepted that I was bisexual about 3 or 4 years ago. Thanks in a huge part to Holly, so thank you, babe. And it's been quite an interesting sort of self-discovery. It's repainted so many moments in my life, helped me understand so many of my own feelings and moments in my life a lot better. Something about accepting it has just helped me be happier, I guess. I can't even explain why. It's not like I'm suddenly going around sucking dudes' dicks every day. or ever. I'm quite happy being in a monogamous relationship. I'm not one for the polygamy, that each their own there, but I know that couldn't ever work for me, you know. But through understanding and coming out as being bisexual, I've also sort of come to understand that, like, I really do see sexuality, and attraction anyway, on just this huge sort of like scale. And you know, if the numbers were 0 to 100, with 0 being 100% straight, binary, 100% straight, zero possible attraction to anyone other than someone from the opposite sex, and the other end, you know, I can't remember if I said 0 or 100 for that, but whatever the other number being for, you know, as possibly like pansexual as can be, I don't honestly think anyone would be a 1 or a 100. You know, I think everyone would be fluctuating on there, and possibly fluctuating throughout their life as well. At the end of the day, have you ever wanked off to hentai? Because if you have, that's not a real human, is it? It's like a series of lines and images, 2D images on a screen, arranged in a way to represent the female form, often not even looking like real human women, and you get aroused by that. So like, I think anyone who's like a furry or whatever probably has already understood this one for years, or anyone who's pansexual, but like, you know, I'm finally figuring it out, and anyone who says it is just this like binary thing or whatever, like, why can't there be literally a million different sexualities or preferences out there? It's just literally give a fuck. People are attracted to whatever they're attracted to. But historically, we have repressed that side of ourselves as human beings and forced people to dogmatically live, forcing them to partner up for life with somebody of the opposite gender, or else faced death, murder, social ostracization, and even in today's modern age, still those things in other countries, but like even here in the UK, for me, growing up constantly just bullying, physical, verbal, mental. So I guess my first point is, yeah, there's a hell of a need still for pride in this world, as long as we do continue to, as a world, define things in such binary ways, and just see things this way through don't run away here, people, but through a patriarchal lens, a very sort of religious patriarchal lens. As long as we continue to view our world that way, there will be a need for pride. As long as people have to feel like they have to hide who they are, or just take years long understanding who they are, as I did, and longer still for many out there, there is a need for pride. Now, let's talk about my feelings regarding pride marches, and certain sort of opinions I've seen being discussed amongst circles that I am within online lately. And remember, I really don't want to offend anyone with this, and I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes or start any dramas or beefs. So if anyone's looking for that, I'm afraid that's not going to be what this video is. Basically, there's been this big discussion online regarding things such as bondage and kink outfits at gay pride, and whether or not that's appropriate at pride marches, with one argument being, well, of course it is, like, why wouldn't it be? And the other argument being, well, think of the children, you know, there are children now attending lots of pride marches, is increasingly becoming around the world, you know, not every pride march, but more and more pride marches, they're increasingly becoming family events, because luckily there are more and more, you know, gay couples out there who have kids and can go to these events, people like my cousins. So children shouldn't necessarily be exposed to these things, but if we just look at this language, we'll see that that is the exact same language that has always been used against gay people, trans people, just, you know, people that are going to pride marches, people that aren't cisgender straights. I think it's an argument that for some people isn't necessarily coming from an innocent place, but I think in this instant is coming from a place with no malice, no ill intent, but sort of, I guess, it just feels misguided or misplaced. To put it bluntly, for me, my parents have always been very sort of on the surface of things. Like, if you were to talk to my dad, you'd think he's the most like sort of boring conservative person ever. When on the inside, they're these absolute fucking party animals. Not drunks, not drug addicts, just like, as a kid, I never quite got it, but now I'm growing up, I totally respect the fuck out of them for it. Just these people who have a friends group like them, who, even though they're in their 60s now, know how to get together and have an awesome party, and have done for like the last 20 years. Basically, like, my parents and some other parents groups that throw these massive New Year's parties amongst themselves and change the house that they'd go to each year. It's the most like middle class white people thing ever. And growing up as a little kid, obviously, we like me and like this, like where half my friends group comes from as well as this. It's yeah. Anyway, we'd go to these parties, and you know, we'd hang out, we'd play, and there'd always be fancy dress parties. And so growing up, to put it bluntly, the amount of times I saw my dad and all my friends' dads in high heels, corsets, garter belts, cross-dressing, lipstick on, and dresses and skirts, just like, you know, because they'd do like gender flip parties. You know, my parents are massive Rocky Horror fans, so I grew up watching things like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've been to the Rocky Horror Picture Show with my family, with my brother and dad, in full corset, suspenders, thong, heels, corset. I already said that. Like, that's not the shit that did any damage to me at all. That stuff didn't traumatize me, it didn't scar me. Growing up, I was kind of thought it was kind of cool and badass of them. I did, actually, even as a kid, and nobody ever really took the piss out of me for it, ever. I think when some people did find out, like, they tried taking the piss out of me for it, and I was like, what do your parents do? Oh, they just drink, do they? They're just alcoholics, are they? Alright. Like, this is 14, 15-year-old Pete speaking, who could be a judgmental prick, you know, but at the end of the day, that's happier that, like, my parents were there for me and able to, like, go to crazy parties and be who they are at them. It was getting beaten up and called a faggot and having my nipples twisted every fucking day at school and getting punched in the face for being a fat queer, and it was that stuff that really fucked me up. It wasn't seeing people wearing obscene outfits, because as a child, none of that stuff like it doesn't affect you that way at all, in the slightest, or it shouldn't do unless there's other stuff going on. And then it's not fair to put the pressure of being like thoughtful to the very small, very like being realistic, a small community of like childhood traumatized people on one day of the year for like this specific Pride March. Like, this stuff just doesn't need to be in the same conversation. If you don't want your kids to see this shit, don't take them to a Pride March. Also, there's more and more Pride Marches. Like, just in my area, there's like 4 different Pride Marches coming up in the next few months. 2 of them are specifically family friendly. Go to those ones during the day that end at like 4 o'clock and are just for families, you know? You don't have to go to the ones that run until like 2 p.m. and full of people partying and drinking all the time. Like, there's people walking around drinking and smoking and stuff. Like, that's just as harmful for a child to observe and see. This is just where I have to lie on this shit, speaking from personal experience and just reality and fact. It's not, in the UK, you can take your kid with you up to like the age of like 6, I think, to 18 plus, 18 rated movies, because like, it's not going to traumatize them. They're not going to understand what they're seeing. It's not going to like do fuck all. And it's the parents' responsibility at the end of the day. Like, we can't, there's enough nannying going on already. This just isn't a worthwhile fight or argument, I think, and it just sucks because a lot of people have gotten upset and offended on all sides of this, and I just don't, there's no need. This argument has been defeated and pointed out how redundant it is more than 100 times a day, a year, throughout the last 100 years. Ever since Stonewall, people have understood this. It's too easy to just go think of the children, but what are the children to prevent to prevent people from getting to live the life they want to live? It's not like they're walking around like this every day of the year. No, like, these are people who spend their lives working in offices, wearing collars and suits, and then for one day of the year they get to be who they are and walk down the streets wearing a different kind of collar. You know, that's awesome. That's sick. That's amazing that we live in a world that has enabled that at last, and that we're one of the few countries in this world where that's okay, because there's still so many countries where it's not. We shouldn't be trying to further oppress people who have spent millennia being oppressed. That's something that certain people involved in this argument should really be able to understand. They should be able to empathize with that. This thing is like, you can just break it down so easily. The argument that is being made, you know, I've got no problem with gay people, I've got no problem with fetish people, I've got no problem with that. Just, they shouldn't be on the streets, you know, it's not good for the kids, except it's one day of the year. What if people were, you know, out there saying, you know, I've got no problem with Islam, I've got no issue with it, they just shouldn't be wearing their hijab on the streets because that offends me. Oh wait, there are people in places in countries like France doing that, and that is bigotry and not okay. What if there were people saying, oh, yeah, I've got no problem with the Jews, I'm just not okay with them, like, walking around with skull caps on or with their, like, curly ringlets. If just, like, you know, I just don't want to see that, it's disgusting. It's the same argument for the not wanting to see kink at pride marches. It's not an argument based on any kind of good faith or rational evidence or science. It's just an opinion that some people have come to, and I think mostly through good intentions, mostly through a place of genuine concern for people, but it's misguided, and it's not actually the thing that helps. Okay. I got heavy, yo. I am definitely not going to sleep tonight at all. America, why?